Throughout the underground rap scene, only God knows how many people have been accused of horrific activities involving women or underage women. But most of these accusations don't actually come with concrete evidence, except for the case of Tokyo's Revenge. In this situation, it would cause an uproar in the scene at the time because he was actually up and coming and seemed to have a really bright future ahead of him. This is the dark story of Tokyo's Revenge. This story involves an artist named Tokyo's Revenge who would do just about anything to have everybody forget this happened, but unfortunately, this is the internet. Tokyo was born on November 13, 1998, making him at least 22 at the time all of this went down. The actual age of Tokyo would not come out until years later because he chose to keep most of his private life exactly that, private. In hindsight, seeing what he was actually doing behind the scenes, this makes a lot of sense. He says he chose the name Tokyo's Revenge because of his huge admiration for Tokyo, as where in his music he does talk about a lot of things that have to do with Japanese culture such as sake, kimonos, and anime. The revenge part coming from, that's just what he liked, revenge.
You need to go get revenge on all them girls.
He would freestyle in high school, and this is the most agreed upon reason for why he began making music all the way back in 2018. Inspired by bands like All American Rejects, Disturbed, and Green Day, he would make songs that would be classified as trap metal, and he would very quickly gain a fan base after dropping his breakout song, Good Morning Tokyo, accumulating over 100 million streams on Spotify and going on Spotify's global top 50. It would also go very viral on TikTok as well in a way to where you couldn't escape it. Keep in mind that this is when going viral on TikTok actually meant a lot more and it was much less common as it is now. He would later drop the Lilium EP, which was very well received by fans and critics alike. Multiple articles are written about him being the next upcoming artist with a similar style to X. This actually caused quite a bit of controversy because you had half people saying that he was copying X's style along with Ski Mask, while the other half with actual brain cells would understand that X wasn't the first artist on planet Earth to have an aggressive flow on hip-hop beats. And while all of this success was great for Tokyo, something very dark was happening behind the scenes. His career was pretty short-lived. Screenshots would start making rounds in the underground community of Tokyo's Revenge, speaking to a 14-year-old girl in ways that no person should. Taking it a step further, this girl wasn't the only victim in the situation, as he would speak to a few girls who weren't of age in the exact same manner, which would also come out a few days later when this all occurred. There is a literal Dropbox of most of the evidence that was linked on Reddit here, and I have to say this. It's really, really bad. Now, unfortunately, I cannot get into most of it because I will get demonetized, but to sum it all up for you, allegedly, and while I don't believe it's alleged, I'll get into why I have to say that in a little bit. He was convincing girls to Michael Myers themselves for his personal enjoyment. I am literally not joking. Because I feel really bad about not going into super depth on what was actually being said in these screenshots, I'm just gonna quickly show you a screenshot of what he said to an underage girl. Allegedly. Yep, if you pause to read that, I apologize. But just in case you didn't get that, here's another one. Oh wow, whoops. My bad, guys. Anyway, if you read any of that, just know that this is only scratching the surface of what he was doing, and his reaction to all of these accusations and evidence coming out against him may be the most damning thing of this entire situation. Oh man, I'm sorry, but this is just the dumbest shit on earth. After all of these things came out against him, it's almost like he said, you know what, let me go make the situation a million times worse. Eventually, a Discord call, damn near panel intervention, was started in your rages of all people's Discord server. He would answer questions that were extremely out of pocket, attempting to clear his name, which would go just about as well as you expected. He kept leaving in the middle of the questions being asked towards him, and he was showing aggression, and it just didn't look good for him being there in the first place.
So, 1 second. I'm not. 1 second. 1 second.
Oh my god.
1 second. See, why do you keep getting upset? I'm trying to. Because it's most.
It's not with you. It's not with you. It's not with you.
For what you told me about Sunny saying that she was lying,
it's actually
right?
him.
Hell yeah. Okay. Is this or is this not grooming? I'm going to, on your 18th birthday, I'm going to rearrange your stomach. Yes or no, is that not grooming? Yes or no?
OD,
just answer
that's
the question.
OD grooming.
Is that not grooming, Tokyo? Yes or no?
That's screenshot is literally from when I was.
Is that not grooming? Yes or no?
Hey,
I said
bro,
yes or no, bro.
this
Come on.
nigga.
Anyway,
Tokyo, you don't. It doesn't look good if you don't answer the question. I asked a yes or no question. It's not that hard to answer. The screenshot's not proof, nigga, because it literally shows up. Can you please answer? No, mute him. He's not answering me. I asked you a simple 1-2 question. Is that or is that not grooming? Yes or no? And he left.
That kid's a pedo.
I mean, why would you be there? Like, if all of this is coming out against you, right? And I've said this in my previous videos, just don't say anything. Or say it's bullshit and move on. These people never learn. By the end of it all, everyone in that call was convinced that he was a word that I cannot say without getting backdoored on YouTube. By this point, a handful of females would come out with horrible screenshots of Tokyo, so the nails were hammered into the coffin. The community shunned him as they should. His Spotify listeners went from at least 3 million to 1 million. His closest friends stated that they're no longer associating with him, and for good reason. He even went private on Instagram and would later deactivate altogether. One thing that was interesting about this whole situation was just how big it had gotten. This could be because right before all of these things came out, he was rising rapidly. He had a song with 24K Golden, Kid Leroy's Trash Ass, and even more. It really seemed like he would be next up, and at this time, he had quite a bit of eyes on him. So I did say earlier I would explain why I had to emphasize that this is all alleged, even though I'm pretty sure it's not. I'm gonna explain that real quick. So Blackie Speaks and Dante would make videos on this situation at the time that this happened. Now, of course, Dante and Blackie Speaks are massive, still to this day. Their videos were both removed, and at first, people assumed that this was because the allegations were false, but that's not why they were removed at all.
But a lot of people started hitting me up, messaging me like, bro, why'd you take the video down? Where's the video at? Why'd you take the video out on this, that, blah, blah, blah. Bro, basically, Tokyo messaged me and said that if the video wasn't taken down, then his label was gonna be forced to take legal action, right? If the video wasn't taken down, his label was gonna be forced to take legal action, bro. They're gonna sue me, bro. And he was like, basically said, yeah. So I took the video down because I'm not about to go back and forth, even though it's like, I mean, you could say it's freedom of speech, but then they could probably say it's defamation of character. And then, nigga, I ain't taking this to court. I ain't spending my money on no fucking bullshit to try to beat something that I don't give a fuck about. I mean, it is what it is. The label's kind of weird for, you know, trying to threaten a nigga like that. They're kind of weird for trying to threaten a nigga like that because one of their artists did something that they weren't supposed to do. And I just called him out because, like, that's my homie, and I even though that's my homie, that don't mean that like a nigga still is not supposed to get checked.
So I feel like his label was trying to do damage control, and the funny thing about the internet is once it's up, it'll never go away. Dante's and Blackie Speaks video would get re-uploaded by other channels, and the damage was done. That's why I was moderately apprehensive about even making this video alone. You can never be too safe, so I have to keep saying allegedly. Tokyo's Revenge is seemingly trying to make a comeback like niggas just forgot. And I just think it's crazy because in my personal opinion, I don't think he will ever reach that success that he had before. As I said, this is the internet and people just don't forget about situations like this. The actions that were allegedly taken by him are unforgivable. And like I said, people don't forget about stuff like this. The unfortunate part about him trying to make a comeback is that you have NPCs who aren't really doing their research to find out who they're listening to and calling him the next XXX Tentacion. My take on this is just that I wasn't even surprised when all of this came out. Most of these artists you listen to have something pretty wrong with them, and this one just happens to like children. Now I know I've been like making little sly jokes and whatnot, but I really don't wish this upon anybody. Yeah, it's kind of fun to make fun of or whatever, but at the end of the day, it just kind of sucks that, you know, something could be so wrong with the person that they enjoy things like this. And, you know, I'm not saying I have empathy for him. I'm just saying that it's just unfortunate that these things continue to happen, like in this scene. Like, you don't hear about country singers being, you know, word that I can't say, or, you know, pop artists being word that I can't say. It's just always the rappers, man. And it just sucks because, you know, for example, right? I was in the car with one of my friends and we were listening to Tokyo's Revenge, and he said, "Isn't this the guy that R-worded like 3 girls?" And I was like, dang, like I don't know, it's bad, man. I don't know, it's very hard to just, you know, hope somebody never succeeds, because I want everyone to succeed. But I don't know, when it comes to people like this, I think they should just be left in the past for sure.
She wanna suck my dick, I let her suck my dick. Sometimes when I wake up, I wanna shoot myself. I know that bitch right here, bitch really bad for me. And every time I wake up, I just wanna die. And then I tell TJ, nigga, lace my shoes. Then he lace my shoes, but I'm still walking for it. I think I'm losing myself trying to love on you. I'm sorry, baby girl, but lay up on money. She said I got a cold fan, babe, she think I do.